Ladies and gentlemen, what a card. That was an amazing start to the year for the UFC. The Dern Rebus card wasn't that great. I didn't even cover it. It kind of annoyed me a bit, and then we got to the Curtis fight, and that was like the only good one. But it ended in a funky way. But this week we had some amazing stuff. Firstly, we're talking about Islam versus Moicano. Unfortunately, that whole situation happened, and oh my gosh, Moicano looked weak on the ground. That was surprising. He kind of knocked down Islam. The commentary tonight was very bullshit. I'm gonna get that out of the way. You're not slick, UFC. Like, what are y'all doing? Moicano kind of knocks him down, and I guess they said it was a slip. They never even really showed that moment from what I noticed, and they later come on and say it was a slip, despite the entire Merab versus Umar fight freaking out over Umar doing nothing. He would land a punch and they'd act like it rocked Merab, but he just backed up. It was quite annoying, to say the least, listening to DC especially, and then Joe Rogan just delusionally misrepresent these fights, and I guess Anik did a little bit as well. But yeah, firstly, Islam, he's getting up there. He just needs one or two more like really good defenses at lightweight, even just one if it's a really good defense, like against Armin or maybe Charles again, and he's the lightweight goat, guys. Khabib, all he really has going for him over Islam is the undefeated thing and the dominance. But when you really like break down the guys they fought, I think that's where Islam starts to pull ahead even now. The top pound for pound guys, Charles and Volk, doing it twice for Islam, it's just unmatched by Khabib. Conor is like his guy, but in hindsight, was he that? I don't know. I don't want to go too in depth about that, but yeah, Islam's coming up on greatness. Money. Moicano didn't make it out of round one. It was. I wish he did a bit better than that. I thought he would do better on the ground. His shoulder was looking injured. It's popped out. He needs to get that fixed before he comes back, I think. Take some time off. But he could keep fighting if he just wants that money. That Bitcoin. Everyone will invest in it. But yeah, good for Islam. It was really surprising to see Moicano did decently well on the feet. Like, I thought that would be the major area where Islam would take over in this fight, but nope, he was just much more weak than Islam on the ground, which I guess makes sense, but I thought Moicano would find ways to be tricky and crafty with his jiu-jitsu, but nope, Islam just broke right through it, wrestled him to death, and Moicano tapped. Moving on, now I'm gonna say this definitively, Merab Dvalishvili is the Bantam-Weight coach, brother. This guy is crazy. This whole fight was very biased from commentary. I thought it was actually 4-1 to Merab. The decision should have been, but a lot of people were giving Umar rounds that maybe they shouldn't have. I think Merab clearly won 3 and beyond. All the rounds after that, and 1 and 2 are kind of the close ones. Y'all need to rewatch that round 1, because everyone was giving it to Umar after round 1. But I thought there was a really good argument to be made for Merab. He landed, I believe, 2 very good hard overhands that were the best shots of the round. Yet, commentary would leave you to believe that Merab was rocked. No, he wasn't. He backed up after a punch landed. It was a big punch, but it wasn't as big as the overhands Merab was landing. And it didn't rock him, but commentary was freaking out over it. And they did it in another round too. They were clinching against the cage. Merab either, I forget exactly what it did, he either sprawled or went for a single leg and dropped down. But DC like screamed, "Oh!" Like Umar did something, but he did nothing. And there was another time in the fight when they were exchanging hooks, and then not quite a clinch, but they were in the pocket. They both landed, and they act like Umar landed like this beautiful counter shot. He didn't. So yeah, this very biased stuff going on here. I don't like that the UFC does this. I don't know why the Dagestanis are so... It might just be the aura. It really might be. The commentators, maybe they're not even paid opposition. Maybe they're just convinced these guys are so good and so deadly. that nobody can beat them, and that everything they do is deadly effective technique. And I mean, they are really good, but it's just annoying as a fan to have to sit there and see what you're seeing, and then have these people in your ears telling you to see something else, and then to see everyone else seeing that is kind of odd. And yeah, I don't like Umar at all. I think he's a little bit of an annoying, entitled individual. After the fight, Joe Rogan kind of put in his mouth that the fight might have gotten judged wrong, and I think DC said that Merab won the later rounds due to showboating, which is just absurd. Like, what the hell, guys? I don't like Umar at all. I like Islam. He's cool. But it's ridiculous. Like, get a grip. And oh my gosh. Okay. The feature fight. Yuri and Jamal Hill. I was wrong. Yuri is just him. Yuri in the scales during the weigh-ins, he looked shredded. Like, that dude's body fat's gone. I don't think he looks a lot bigger, but his body fat's gone. You could tell he was trying to cut down the middleweight, and this was a typical Yuri fight. I don't think this man's capable of a boring fight. This fight was amazing. Yuri knocked down Hill multiple times in round 1 and 2, or not round 1 and 3. 2 was the closer round of the fight, thanks to a huge eye poke Jamal landed. And yeah, a lot of people would be mad at Jamal for this. I think he was a class act. People call him salty, whatever, but you know, he was being cool during the fight, and even after it, he wasn't acting a foot. So yeah, I think Jamal's playing a character. Y'all take it too seriously. He's working you. He's a good heel. It's working. And yeah, Jamal, he's a smart, cool guy. That fight didn't go his way though. Yuri is just the second best light heavyweight on the planet. I would really like to see him versus Ankalaev if Pereira beats Ankalaev. That would be crazy. And if Pereira does beat Ankalaev, who can beat this man? It has to be a heavyweight at that point, because he's clearing out all these top light heavyweights that are like the new generation, like Blachowicz maybe in a rematch. Is that where we're going? Because yeah, it's just crazy. Man, Yuri is so good. He really reminds me of that situation that Holloway was in a couple years ago when Volk was champion, where it's like he's beating all these contenders, but he just can't beat that one guy. Or like Whitaker without Adesanya for a little bit, Covington with Usman. It's just that one guy that's the best who can't quite get it done against the champion. And yeah, watch Ankalaev pull out Yuri Alex 3. Let's go. But yeah, Yuri's great. He's fun to watch. Jamal's great. That was an amazing fight. Probably fight of the night. Definitely fight of the night. What am I saying? And yeah, those fights, all 3 of those were a beaut. So we'll kind of fly through these next few ones. Almeida, he looked bad. Okay. It was very back and forth in the grappling. One guy would be on top 1 second, and then they would kind of reverse it. The other, I guess. Yeah, I thought Spivak was a good underdog here if you wanted to try and make some money, but yeah, Almeida got it done with kind of a late stoppage, honestly. Like, they could have let that go a little bit longer to the bell, and then the fight would have been close for the next round, and Almeida probably still would have won. But yeah, Spivak got flattened out. He was just laying on his belly, flat like a beach whale, getting punched with very light punches for a heavyweight. Almeida does not throw hard leather. And yeah, Herzog stopped it due to unanswered shots. It weren't that many. It wasn't that long of a duration of unanswered shots, but he wasn't defending himself. He was laid flat out, and it's kind of understandable the position, but I think when you actually look at the effectiveness of what was going on, you could have let that go on and see what happens in round 2. But yeah, not much to say there. Give Almeida. I would like to see Almeida fight either Gane or Blades. I think those 3 are kind of in the same predicament right now. They need to fight each other. Volkov's kind of above that. He either is going to fight for the championship with Aspinall or something. I don't know. Volkov's, I guess, in that mix too. that one shot away from a title mix, but I don't think Almeida's there either. I think him and Blades might be the match. They're both kind of one step below Volkov and Gane, but you can't really do the rematch of Volkov and Gane. Or the trilogy, I guess. You can't. They might, but they can't. They have to kind of keep it fresh and do something else, but gosh, I'm still mad about that. Going back up to these, though, I haven't really given my thoughts on what they should do next. Islam, I don't think he moves up. He either does Charles or Harmon. I think those fights, he needs to at least get one of them done before he goes up to 170. Merab, I would like to see Jan. I think that's the only guy that's really there at the moment. Maybe you can make a case for an O'Malley rematch, but if Merab isn't injured and doesn't need time off, I would like to see that. If not, you can do O'Malley Jan in the meantime for a number one contender. And then Yuri, like I said, Ankalaev. Otherwise, Roundtree. That sounds like a great fight. Give me Yuri Roundtree. That's actually one I haven't really heard much of. But yeah. Moving on. RDR versus Kevin Holland. Y'all thought this man was just gonna destroy GM3 in round 3? Not destroy him. It was a war. It was such a close fight. GM3 would have won if RDR didn't find the finish. But RDR has GOAT level skills. You thought he was gonna lose to Kevin Holland? Now, I thought it would happen later. But it didn't. It happened in round 1. Easy submission. This guy submitted GM3. What was I even thinking saying round 3? Clearly it was going to be round 1, and he did it with ease. Now this was kind of tragic. Okay? Talbot, he's a little fruitcake. Like, that's the one part of his personality I don't really like. He's a fruity guy, he paints his nails, and he's gay. Now, without going too much into opinions on that, he has cool tattoos. And he's a aura-filled guy, I guess. He has an energy to him. It's like that cool guy in school that everyone wants to be friends with. But he got exposed as an aura-maxing aura merchant, if we're throwing out them good old Gen Z buzzwords, popular terms at the moment. He aura-maxing. And yeah, he just got exposed here. He can't really do much on the ground against a strong wrestler. He got laid on in round 3 when Barcelo started getting tired. He had a bit of success, but it wasn't anything substantial. And yeah, it was a sad expose. We got a prospect exposed at Bantam-Weight again. This keeps happening. We have so many good prospects at Bantam-Weight, but it feels like they're all getting just exposed, which is just a testament to how deep the division is, to where these guys that look so good can just get randomly beat by someone who's been in the division, losing to certain guys for ages. And yeah, I guess it's just not Payton's time at the top. Hopefully he can improve and get up there. All this tells me is Cameron Simon needs to go down to 125, because it is not looking good for him at 135 given what's going on. He's younger than Payton, so he could improve a lot, but Bantamweight is a nasty division. And yeah, rip Simon. He got destroyed by Talbot for nothing. Moving on, we had Bakoyev versus Reese. Bakoyev got a TKO on the ground early. Reese, I guess, was a bum all along. You don't get slammed on your head by Brundage and remain a prospect that people think are going to go far. I'm not trying to throw shade when I talk about this. It's purely analytical, but yeah, Reese ain't got the special thing you need. Maybe he gets it at some point later in his career, but not now. And yeah, Bakoyev, interesting new prospect in UFC. First fight went very well. Now, Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Alakana. What was that? Billy immediately in the fight takes him down and gets on his back and just holds it. It looked like it was a prospect incoming, or an expose incoming. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. But on paper, you know, Guskov was going to break the body triangle in reverse position. And on paper, reality is written. And it happened. He got free, and this was a weird stoppage. He punched him on the ground a little bit. Big shots, and then they stood up, and Billy kind of just at one point ends up on his knees, just looking up at Guskov getting punched a bunch while just sitting there not really doing much, kind of waiting for the referee to stop it. But the referee doesn't stop it and just lets this man look like a goober on his knees, staring up at a guy, letting him punch him, until eventually Guskov goes for a submission. I believe it was a guillotine, and he gets it. And yeah, that's how that fight went. Guillotine from a kneeled position, just kneeled in front of him, begging for mercy. And this fight went pretty much about how I expected, outside of a random Diego Ferreira knockout. This was always how this was going to go. Got a Grant Dawson control time fest. He had one moment when they were scrambling to the feet and Dawson looked like he hurt him, but Dawson ain't trying to be fun, guys. I like this kid. According to him, he has a hot wife. He don't need to be fun for approval from people. He has a hot wife. His words, not mine. He don't need none of that. So yeah, he said, "Oh, I got this guy hurt. Takedown. Decision. Let's go." Moving on. Yeah, this happened. The disgusting. I'm seething, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I'm trying to contain the explosion. Oh, this disgusting STD whore. Bad influence to young women everywhere. She'll lose eventually. I'm not even going to say anything else. Aylin Perez, you disgust me. Okay, yeah, back to Bantam-Weight. So yeah, like I said, prospects are falling left, right, and center in this division, and Nakamura was one of them. This was one of the funner fights on the card. Gafarov was landing huge shots, knocking Nakamura down. And yeah, Nakamura, the expert wrestler, just forgot how to wrestle. So that went how it went. He got pieced up. Never trust an Asian to win a fight is what I'm starting to learn. Never, no matter how big of a favorite. It's just not going to happen. Eventually, I don't know. And this isn't racism. This is just statistics. You look at how this demographic does in fights, you'll see what I'm seeing. You'll see what I'm seeing. And yeah, after that before that we had Tercios versus Sopaj. This fight was good. Tercios was a dog in this one. I expected him to kind of be a little bit of a frail lad because of fighting Raul Rosas. He just was left with that image in my mind. But, Sopaj, he beat him up for a lot of it, but Tercios showed he had a dog in him, and he was not going away easily. So the fight went how it went. Decision. Sopaj hurt him a couple times, but bro just stuck in the fight and kept it fun. And then we had Tagir Unumbekov versus Clayton Tarpenter. Clayton was doing a lot of fence grabbing in this fight, but Tagir still ended up pulling through with the win. It was a battle of inches, Clayton had his moments, but Tagir was the one who had more withdrawn, longer moments, and he finished the round stronger, which ultimately definitely gave him a clear decision. And Carpenter one day he might make it up to the top of the division, but for now he's got some things he got to work on, but he looks good. I don't think Tagir's going much higher than this, but yeah, that was a good fight. Carpenter didn't look too bad for a prospect. And that brings us to the wrapping up. Fun card. I'm tired. Rip Money Moicano. Merab's the GOAT. Islam's closing in on GOAThood. Hopefully he doesn't retire. And yeah. Hopefully we can get some legit fights for Makhachev, because yeah, that went well. I'm just shocked Moicano knocked him down. No, it wasn't a slip. Don't you tell me that. You're gonna cause a crash out if you tell me he's slipped. He didn't slip. But yeah, that's it. See you.